Welcome to Parenthood Bites, the podcast where we explore life as a parent in tech. I'm your host, Chow, and I have over 15 years of experience in tech, and I'm also currently working as a career coach. I'm the proud mother of 3 incredible boys. In each episode, we have an inspiring guest who will share their remarkable story. You'll find their wisdom and insights both relatable and enriching, because after all, we're all in this parenting journey together. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's dive into today's episode. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 74 of Parenthood Bites. We're back this week with Virginia Frischkorn, CEO and founder of Party Trick. Last week, she talked to us about how she juggled building her business while raising 2 young kids and prioritizing self-care. This week, we're diving into how she navigated the pandemic with her children, who are now 8 and 10, and how her business has evolved. Welcome back, Virginia. Thank you so much for joining us again. I like to start off by just asking, how has your work life changed since you became a parent?
As a parent versus pre, it impacts my life so much. Before kids, it was work in my relationship, and that was, me and friend time. Now, like post kids, we just have to be that much more efficient, right? And in general, like I make decisions faster. I cut out unnecessary things, just that ruthless prioritization, focus on the 20% that really matters more. And so the life, because there's less time to dedicate to one thing, work, in my case, just because, as I was running your own business, I think we all get kind of very attached to it that way. I look at time management as one of the biggest things that shifted, how to manage time and do that based on whatever's most prioritized at any given moment. So you just have to be much more intentional.
Right, ruthless prioritization, like you kind of talked about last
Yeah.
time as well, and like really setting those boundaries.
Completely.
So, what has been your biggest struggle or challenge being a parent in tech?
Oh, that constant pull in two different directions, right? And I think also transitioning from a live in-person service business, right? So luxury in-person services to tech and startups, very different cultures. And so as being like a parent in tech, and especially when there's like so many young tech founders who don't have kids at this point, like I'm an older founder in that capacity. This relentless work nonstop, it is something that obviously I do, but I do in my own way. And there's this vibe, and it goes back to hustle culture. And I think, if you listen to the last episode and this, it's very clear, like I work a ton, but at the same point, my kids will come first. And so if I can't hustle for 2 days straight or whatever it might be, like my kids are going to come. And so this challenge and balance of navigating, again, that time, but also the perception that it must be done one way. I don't believe that it must be done one way. And so the struggle of the perception of what it would be, could be, should be like versus the reality of what it is like, just throw that out. Like, don't really care what anyone else thinks. I think I've had the lucky framework that I have a different perspective now. I just don't really care what people think on that. So
Yeah, and I think that's so important, especially being a tech founder. I feel like there's a common perception of what a tech founder mold looks like. How have you navigated those stereotypes and expectations?
yeah, I love the underestimate me, this will be fun. And so people, when there are stereotypes and you're not that stereotype or you're a founder and a parent, I don't think people always get it. And so great, use that to your advantage. So don't play into whatever they're judging and saying, use it to your advantage. You know what? No one is more efficient than, again, a mom who's got a lot on her plate. We're creative, we're flexible, we're gritty because we have to be. And so we have more like ways to get to that 10,000 hours faster than others. And like, how can we use that to our advantage?
Yeah, I love that. So, what would you say has been the biggest benefit, being a parent in tech?
Great question. I think my role with this business as a parent in tech compared to a live in-person services, like that chapter of my life, the flexibility I have now is so much greater. And I'm not at my client's beck and call. I don't have to be somewhere on a particular weekend, right? And so I have so much more flexibility. As long as I have my computer, I can be working in France, I can be in Mexico, I can be in New York. I can take those midday breaks to go get my kids if something like they have a ski afternoon because we go to school like in Colorado in the mountains. So they do that. So the flexibility has been absolutely tremendous for me in particular. I also think that like tech, but as well as kind of like in-person services, what I was doing before, there's a lot of iteration and problem solving that we're constantly like, we're learning how to evolve to, I hate when people say pivot. So we're evolving constantly. And so that makes you think about how are you evolving at work, and then how are you evolving in life as well. And that's really what parenting is. Like, you think you got something down, and then now you're onto a new chapter, onto a new phase. So if you think about kind of the problems that we're solving, like in tech, typically, do we have enough data to make a data-driven decision? Is this a gut-driven decision? And then how do we evolve? It's, you've got that objective and subjective. It's the same thing in work as it is in parenting in that case, in my mind.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like you were saying, in the last episode, I think you talked about like you could be at the games and then you just gotta, write an email or whatever, but you could still be there. You could still be present. That just takes away maybe like 10 minutes and then you can go back to watching the game and stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
That's awesome. For those of us in California where it doesn't snow. Can you tell me about a ski afternoon? Is that like they just know it's going to snow and then you get the afternoon off? How does that work?
Isn't that crazy? So my children go to a school where for their PE in the winter, every Wednesday afternoon, they have ski afternoons. So they pack up the kids at about 12 o'clock and they all go ski. And they ski the whole afternoon, and it's their PE block. And if you think about it from like a life lessons perspective, it's amazing. These little kids are like packing their bags and carrying their gear and then learning to navigate on the mountain. And they bring in the parents to chaperone and volunteer. And it's a really cool 2.5 hour, 3 hour experience. It's not long, honestly, like the poor kids who are shuffling around a lot more. But through that, they're developing amazing life skills. Because I mean, I know a lot of parents who can't carry their skis through a parking lot. And now you get these kiddos who learn how to navigate with gear amongst people. I mean, they're just like little life lessons that are kind of cool to see. Isn't that funny? I mean, we're very lucky to be in a place that we can do this.
Yeah. And is that elementary? Do they do on middle school and high school as well?
They do. Yeah.
Wow.
So our school only goes through the end of middle school, like 8th grade, but the schools here, even the high school, actually has a chairlift that runs from it. And so
What?
depending on the ski program, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's so cool. See, I'm over here in California, like,
I know.
I'm like, wow, I'm so in awe.
Uh-huh. No, it's so funny. I mean, and so if the kids who are in the racing program, which my kids don't do their racing program, they actually leave school early 2 days a week to go do a quick little training session before they do like dry land training. So they get, I mean, it's the mountains. People take their skiing very seriously.
Yeah, so it sounds like everybody that comes out of there, you have to know how to ski, right? Like just basic skills, you'll know how to ski.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's probably we need to keep these ski resorts alive. But no, I mean, my children are amazing, amazing little skiers. It's the greatest gift for them. I mean, I just got the cutest video of my son. As I just mentioned, I'm out of town, and I got it from his coach, and he had a comp over the weekend. And it was like, he's crushing. And then he throws this 360 off of this jump, and I'm like, oh my God. And it was so fun. And I mean, I actually flew back from New York really early the last time I was here because there's this big bowl. So basically the bowl it's a style of terrain, like top of the mountain. And so in Aspen, one of the mountains is called Aspen Highlands. And it was my daughter's first hike up the bowl, which is, she's 8, and it's a 45+ minute hike where you carry your skis on the back and then you ski down double black terrain. And it was her first time. It's a very big milestone for the kids here. And I'm like, I'm not going to miss that. My son has a ski comp every weekend, so it's not like a big deal if I miss one or two. For him, obviously I check with him first. But for her, this was a big milestone moment. And as a parent, I love that one, I had the flexibility to make it back. But that's the thing in Colorado where it's like, okay, cool. These little kids are like learning to hike up 13,000-foot mountains to ski down. And it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
So she was able to hike up there 45 minutes carrying her skis.
Oh,
And
it was amazing. And again, this is the power of women. My son, when he had to do it, I was there for his first once, and then I did it a few times with him last year. He kicked and screamed. He's like, I came here to ski. I didn't come here to hike. And my daughter's singing Taylor Swift. It's the cutest thing in the world.
She's like, I got this.
She's like, oh, this is so cool. And, she's such a tough cookie. It's amazing.
That's so awesome. So I wanted to ask a little bit about also, I realize it's 5 years since pandemic started. I was just curious, how did you manage your business during that time? Your kids, were they all at home? How did you manage that?
Oh, that was a very, very tough chapter for so many. In that chapter, I actually had a wedding on the first day of quarantine. That was special.
And it still happened?
The wedding happened, we didn't go as the planner because we would have been fined like $20,000+ for organizing something against the law. So that was a really interesting thing to navigate because I would have, and it was a small wedding. It wasn't like a huge deal. Not saying that was good or bad, but I mean, when I weigh the pros and cons from a reputation perspective, I'm not going to end up on the front page of the paper in a smaller town doing that. And so it was this interesting, like, what's the right thing to do? And I was like, look, I can coach you from the car. I'll radio everything. I don't need to be physically there. Like, I can like secretly do this. And fortunately, we worked with the vendors who were able to be there. But anyhow, fast forward, the pandemic, it ruined my business. It shut down. I mean, we lost an entire year plus of business. I had a full team of 12. Obviously, kids didn't have childcare. I was divorced. The kids were with me like almost the majority of the time because it just was what it was. It was a really challenging chapter, but it actually was one of the greatest resets you can imagine. And I look at this as it forced me to slow down. It forced me to really rethink priorities. And it led to me launching Party Trick. Like I realized, look, gathering is a necessity, not a luxury. And I have these tools. Let's build something where we can bring people back together. I think people realize we crave in-person connection as humans. Humans need belonging and humans need other humans. And if I had the tools to make that better and easier for others, it was my gift and privilege to build something to bring that out to the world. And so it showed that from a professional perspective. From the kid perspective, my kids were so little. They had so much fun. I had a blast with them. I think I had kids at a very good age during this because, from a school perspective, we weren't really missing much. It was still like daycare. And we were able to do all the like KiwiCo activity sets and we would do yoga. This was a Blippi phase for them. So there was some Blippi involved, a lot of cooking. And so we just found really creative ways to stay connected, but also incorporate a lot of activity and structure. Because I think, we all need structure and our own like flexibility within that structure. And that's what I think is hard for them missing school. But we just created our own structure and did different class kind of style things. So, yeah.
So you were able to take that time, spend time with your kids, and then kind of evolve your business in the process.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't stop. I had my team running, but I kept them on. And that's where I was in a really lucky situation. And I plan my business. I run it very conservatively, all of them, and the older ones in particular, where I didn't lay off my entire staff, which most of hospitality and events did. But I knew I had to be with the kids. And I'm like, if I lay everyone off and I have to manage this, how is that going to work? So I was able to kind of be more present with the children, keep my team on because I had the reserves to do so. I've been really intentional about how I'd run things from a financial perspective. And that also allowed me the space to one, be with kids, but then also dream up what was next. So it was the greatest gift.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love how you just turn that around. That's really, really awesome. Because I think so many people, right? So many people would just be like, okay, that's it. The whole world's shutting down. My business, that's it, right? But you were able to just turn that around.
I will say, this sounds so cheesy. If you can find the little silver lining in every single thing and practice gratitude in every single moment, it's so much easier. And I have had over the last 7 years more traumatic events in my life happen than God knows what to do with it. And from, losing my father in 2020, horrific divorce, years and years of being in court, what I learned is that if you establish that daily practice every day, what am I grateful for? What is the silver lining? What is this teaching me? This is happening for me, not to me. Those are things that I can find the silver lining in almost anything. And how can you transition it? And the lesson that you learn, there's a reason why these things occur. And it only makes us more resilient, but it's a mindset practice. And so it goes back to like hypno breath work at the end of the day, starts at the beginning of the day with setting intentions and being incredibly like taking just 2 minutes. What am I grateful for? Coffee. I'm grateful for coffee every day.
Oh, girl. Yeah.
Right? Like, oh my God, coffee, fresh air. And it's silly because I think we take those things for granted. We're all like, say it, but not really. Like, if you actually pause and are like, I'm really grateful for this, you start to realize there's a lot to be grateful for. And it's easy to find the beauty within an otherwise kind of hard existence sometimes.
Yeah, I really love that. Just being intentional and really appreciating things. And like you said, I think it's not the bigger things, right? All the things that we take for granted. If we take a moment to think about that, there's so much to appreciate.
There's so much. I mean, how soft a sweater might be. It's silly. It can be little things. It could be like a smile from a stranger. Or again, things that would normally irritate you if you can take a moment back and be like, oh wait, that was coming from that intention. I'm actually grateful they came from that intention. Those are things that like stopping, pausing, and being grateful in each little moment that you even had that moment that existed. Because the comparison can, it's the thief of all joy.
Yeah, yeah. So what's something you would tell someone, Tech, who's planning to have kids or something you wish you knew before you became a parent?
don't wait for the perfect time. There is never the right time, right? And even as a planner, we think we can like plan these things, but don't wait, just do it. I love the Nike just do it. That is so much of my life of like, just do it, just do it. No ideal moment will ever line up perfectly and then stay in that. It's constantly evolving. And I think the best thing you can do is build systems of support. So if you think about what is your system, what is your team of support, and that can honestly just being like, I have a list on my phone when I'm like feeling down, who do I call? Because I can't think about it, right? Like, if you think you get into a spiral and you're like, there's no one. There actually are. There are a lot of people. But sometimes what's your system? Okay, my system is I have a note. Okay, cool. I'll call my sister. Boom, done. And so it's like you're not carrying it alone. If you have that system, a system of support, it allows you to kind of like take that leap and realize there's no perfect time and just do it.
Yeah, and it sounds like you have, a system for everything, kind of how to deal with everything for yourself. And I think that's a really good learning for a lot of us to, have something to fall back on, because when we're in those moments, we can't think, you're just in your emotions, in the
Oh my
situation.
God, totally. Yeah. I mean, that sounds really silly. And like, I have someone who really makes fun of me for this. I have albums on my phone and my like iPhotos of like, hey, this is what I kept in this location. Like, if I can't remember, because I'm on the go a lot, I left this monitor here. So what are the systems? But I even have a systems of like when I need a laugh. So I open it up and like laugh, like, okay, Virginia, I need a reminder. Like, I need something to laugh about. So it's those silly little things that they start out of necessity and you're like, okay, here's a pain point. But like we do when we're juggling so much and holding so much as parents, those little helping tricks, those things that help support us, they're hard to like pull out of thin air. So like build a tool, build a system that will allow you to kind of like quick start that. And it's dorky. It's an efficiency thing.
I mean, it's really not silly, because I think it's really such a helpful tool, and the best thing we can do for ourselves is to create these tools for when we need it. We're not going to be able to access it in those moments. So it's like, how do we make it that much easier for ourselves?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Virginia, for sharing everything with
Thank
us
you.
about your business in the last episode, and also talking about how you've been able to manage, and also your mindset and things. I think there's so much for people to learn from these 2 episodes. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure, and hopefully some fun little nuggets and pearls of wisdom for people to jump off with and make them their own.
Yeah, definitely. And once again, if folks want to reach out to Virginia, you can find her at partytrick.com and across all social media platforms, including Instagram at instagram.com/partytrick and TikTok. So really, you can find her on all the platforms.
All the platforms, yeah. Partytrick.com, and then all the platforms. Just search Party Trick, you'll find us.
Awesome. And then again, we'll share all of these in our show notes, and we'll also broadcast it on our platforms as well. So super appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Parenthood Bites. We hope you found our episode informative and entertaining. If you're a parent in the tech world or know someone who is, we'd love to hear from you. Please reach out to us at chow@parenthoodbites.co, and we'll be thrilled to add your experiences to our interviews. That's chow, CHIAO, @parenthoodbites.co. And to our potential sponsors out there, if you're a business or know of one that would like to support and partner with our podcast, please don't hesitate to get in touch. You can also reach us at chow@parenthoodbites.co. Thank you once again for tuning in, and we wish you a fantastic rest of your week. Until next time, take care and stay curious.